Hi, everyone. Stephen Husted with Rainmaker Real Estate. Thanks for watching my video. This is my first long form video that I'm going to be posting onto YouTube, and I'm super excited. I've been wanting to do this for a while, and I just been so focused on doing short form that I just haven't, got started. So I know that this is going to be a little bit of a longer process. I know that they're going to get better over time, but I figured, you know what, I'm just going to go for it, put one out right now and learn and get better as I go along. And hopefully that you can get some good information out of this video. And it's going to be based on what to do when you're going to buy your first house. So first time home buyers, what are the ins and outs? What does the process look like? I want to try to give you some little tips too that can help you maybe just, save you some money, save you some time, or just, give you a better perspective on the whole process as a whole. There's a lot of information on YouTube that you can look into buying your first home or any type of scenario when it comes to real estate. We live in a era now that you can get so much information, whether it's on YouTube, a podcast, short form, you name it, it's all there so that you can get really smart and really knowledgeable in a particular field now, where before, if you're going out to buy a house, you were basically putting all your trust in your team, meaning your agent to your loan officer, to the title company, to the property inspector. You were putting all this effort in to go out and buy a house. But now you can go online and get pretty educated on a lot of topics and at least have some good information going into the process before you start, which is really cool. So the first thing you want to do when you're looking to go buy a home is you want to set a budget. You want to plan everything out the best you possibly can. You want to get your credit cards paid down. If not, just wipe them out completely. You just want to go into the process pretty much debt-free if you can. Now, you can carry debt if you make good money and, it doesn't matter if you have some debt that you can afford a payment, then great, do what you got to do. But if you want to approach it and you want to set a really strong budget with factoring in the mortgage payment, take a hard look at your finances, go through your account, see where you spend all your money, see what kind of debt you have, whether it's a car payment, student loan, what have you. Factor it all in. And you have to look in buying a house. It's a long-term play, meaning you want to understand, okay, if I buy this house, how long do I really want to own this house? Am I going to keep it for 5 years, 7 years, 10 years? Am I going to make it into a rental down the road? Am I going to house hack it where I move into it and then maybe I have some roommates, or maybe I'm buying a multifamily where it's a duplex and I'm going to, live in one side and rent out other. There's so many different strategies. So you have to kind of figure out the direction you want to go. And once you do that, you want to reach out to putting together a team. I would suggest you look into your financing first and foremost so that you understand how much you can afford in a particular location. Because there's times where I have buyers coming to me and they're like, hey, I want to buy in San Jose. I want to live in Willow Glen. But they can't even qualify to live in Willow Glen. So they're kind of stretching themselves out. They didn't do any research prior to, and then they come to me and, I kind of have to unwind everything and also get them in a different direction. Meaning, hey, you can't buy in Willow Glen, but have you looked into South San Jose? Like there's a whole exploring part that needs to happen. So you can do this really simple by just jumping on Zillow. If you live in an area, wherever it is in the United States, go and look in your local area. You can actually afford to live in the area you want to be, or find a plan B. Look somewhere else where you can get that you're okay with. But here's one thing I can say about buying a house. Buy the best location your money can buy. That is really big. Whatever you can afford, just find the best location. Meaning, is it on a decent street? Is it close to some amenities that you like, whether it's getting close to the freeway so you can get to work, or is it by a hospital or shopping or a coffee shop or schools? You need to figure all that out within your budget. So that's a big factor that you want to, do your own due diligence up front, because the more information that you have going into the process, once you reach out to the team, it's almost like the process speeds up a little bit quicker because you've already done some due diligence. You've already looked online. You kind of have an understanding of what you can afford. And with Zillow, If you pick a location, you can just go in there and, put a down payment in there, see what a mortgage payment looks like. So you kind of get a good idea of where you can sit before you've even reached out to the team. Now, what you're going to do is you're going to be exploring a lot of different methods. So you're going to be looking into strategies for financing. Are you going to be doing a 30-year fix? Are you going to do an ARM product? Are you going FHA? Are you going VA? There's all these different products that you need to talk to your loan officer about. And they should be able to give you all the type of knowledge and, what would be the best game plan for you. Because sometimes people want to go straight to a 30-year fix because that's all they hear. But maybe the strategy is to preserve your cash and do FHA with only 3.5% down, and you already know that you can afford the payment, then maybe that's a strategy. You first have to figure out all that. And that doesn't take that long to do. You should be able, once you get in front of your loan officer or the bank that you bank at, you should have all this kind of planned out within, 2 days max. Then you want to find yourself a local real estate agent expert. So whatever location that you want to get into, you want to find the best person you possibly can. I would interview at least 2 or 3 people. And when you go to research them, look at them online, see what you see as far as like, are they putting out content? Are they doing transactions? Are they in the community? Make sure that you just do a little bit of research up front and then interview people. Talk to at least 2 to 3 people. And the reason why is, just because they look good online, maybe your personality doesn't get along with them. Maybe you want to find somebody else that you're going to be spending 30, 60, 90 days with this particular person. You're going to want to like them, at least have a good conversation with them. And, because you're going to be talking to them on a daily basis. And there's going to be points when it's pretty smooth. There could be times when it's super stressful. You never know. There is no way in real estate that you can actually say it's going to go from point A to B and this is how it's going to work. That's just not how real estate works. The reason why is there's so many different moving parts and you can only control your side of any transaction. So when you go out there to buy a home, you can write an offer, you can do all the paperwork, you can take care of everything on your side, but what happens if there's issues with the seller or there's something going on with the financing? Some things are out of your control, so you have to be a little bit more flexible and kind of roll with the punches. That could be a big tip to tell you right now is expect everything. And if it goes super smooth, great. You had a really smooth transaction. If it doesn't, and there's things you have to work through, take a step back, find out whatever that issue is, address that issue with your team and make a decision. And sometimes you don't even have to make a decision so quick. Don't rush into certain things. I would always look at the bigger picture too. So once you go out there and you start to look for houses, my recommendation for what type of house to look for within your budget is, are you looking at a condo, single family? Do you need a school district? And if you do, try to find, the best street possible. And when it comes to looking at the houses, if you're looking at a house, let's say your budget's getting a little stretched and the house you're going to look at is going to be a little bit more in the original condition, not fully turnkey. That is okay. The big things you want to look into are the big ticket items done: roof, plumbing, electrical, windows. If you can get a good combination of that, but let's say it just needs floors and paint, no problem. Get in there over time and put sweat equity into it. Get the floors done, get the paint done, remodel a half bathroom, what have you. You can do that over time. Now, if you have a lot of the big ticket items, those can add up. And it also, if you buy a house, displace you at points, because let's say you have to do a roof, you're going to hear the roofers there at one point. Let's say you have to do plumbing, you're going to have to move out because they're going to do the plumbing. So if you can try to find the best property for you and your budget, as far as how much time and money you're going to be putting into it, that'd be great. It really all depends on your budget too. Maybe you can only afford a house that is a complete fixer-upper and it is what it is, or maybe you're able to buy a turnkey, then no problem. This doesn't really going to apply to you, but I just wanted to put it all out there. Once you find the house and let's say you're out there and you're going to look at writing an offer, the big things you want to do with writing offers is you want to talk to your agent. You want to understand what is sold recently, what is pending right now in quarter mile to a half mile to a mile radius. Stay as close as you can to the house or the condo or the townhouse that you're looking at, because the closer you can get and find the comps, the better you're going to understand where pricing is. You also want to understand how hot is the market. Is the market where you're writing an offer, Are all these properties getting multiple offers, or is it declining? What's going on in the market? You need to know all that information so that when you find a house to write an offer on, you can kind of understand what you're going to go into. Is that market non-contingent? Meaning, is it a market where you write offers with no contingencies, meaning financing, appraisal, property inspection? What type of market are you going into? You have to understand that too. So once you have those all in place and you're getting ready to write an offer, you want to start getting some information on what's the seller story. Are they moving out of state? Is it a divorce? Did somebody pass away? Is it a probate? What's going on with the property? Get as much information as possible so that you can kind of craft an offer. So that one thing I can say about when you buy a house is when you get into negotiations is you want to make sure you kind of look at both sides and see if you can kind of come to some common ground, not only in price and terms, but just make sure it feels like it's a kind of a give or take so that at the end of the day, the whole thing feels like a win-win. That's always a very good strategy. Doesn't always go this way. Sometimes you're going to get a seller that is really set on price and is not going to change anything and super hard to deal with. Or you might get a seller that's super easy to deal with. You just never know. So you got to keep all your options open and keep a very open mind on it. You might be out there writing several offers. Understand that that could be something that happens. Like you maybe not get the first house that you look at. And that is okay. Take your time. Don't rush into the fact that you got to go buy a house. Find the house that makes sense. When you drive right down that street, so you're walking up to the front of it, going in the house, you're going to know what house speaks to you.